Thank you for joining me for Just a Thought. We are in Romans chapter 12 and verse 15. Rejoice with them that do rejoice. Now, this is a wonderful passage. We're going to shift gears just a little bit, especially from yesterday. And we're going to see here in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 26 and 27. And if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. Or if one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now you are the body of Christ and members individually. Now, of course, this context is talking about the body of Christ and how everyone is important. Whether they're the ear for hearing or the eyes for seeing, it doesn't matter which part you are in the body, you're just as important as another. And so the pinky toe is just as important as the ear and so on. And if the whole body were the hearing, where would be the smelling? And so we all have different roles and different talents, different abilities, but we all work collectively and in a harmony with one another to do the will of God. Now, what I want to do today is address sometimes the negative that happens in our lives when we see someone have success or we see someone accomplish something in which they're grateful or they get a promotion, whatever the case may be. And sometimes we might be bitter. Sometimes we wish that we had that kind of success. And so I'm going to be dealing with the concept of envy. And we need to be careful. So Romans chapter 12 and verse 15, rejoice with them that do rejoice. So if they're rejoicing over something, I should rejoice and not be envious. And so keying in on envy, consider Romans chapter 1 and verse 29. Being filled with all unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy. What's right next to full of envy? Murder, strife, deceit, evil-mindedness. They are whisperers, and the list goes on. The point is that we can be envious of others. Now, let's set the record straight so we can kind of understand the difference between these words. To be jealous is the idea that you wish that you had whatever it is that someone else has. Now, some of these things, it may not be a thing. It may not be tangible. It may be a good reputation. It may be something that is not associated with money or anything like that. It may be that they have friends that you don't, those types of things, or a good family life. Maybe they have parents and you've never had a parent, or a mother or a father in that sense that raised you. Maybe you were raised by someone else, a family member, or even raised in an orphanage. And so you look at these other people and you're jealous. So you wish you had what they had, and that kind of controls you. Now, envy is a step further. To be envious of someone is that idea, well, since I can't have it, I don't want you to have it. And so it's the idea of wishing ill upon that person. Because I can't have the joy that you have, then I don't want you to have any joy at all. So it's the idea of wishing that they could not rejoice about whatever it is, be happy about whatever it is that's happening in their life. Malice, step further than being jealous and envious. Malice is when we start plotting how we're going to take that away from them, or hurt them in some way or another. Now, murder is the fulfillment of malice, the planning that sometimes arose from envy. We understand the Pharisees put Jesus to death because of envy. Even Pilate knew that. So this is a very, very serious matter. If it's within our heart that we see someone that's rejoicing over something and we can't have the same joy that they have, we can't celebrate with them, whatever that is, we got a problem. And that needs to be addressed. We need to address that in our hearts. Romans 13 and verse 13. Let us walk properly as in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness, not in lewdness and lust, not in strife and envy. You see, envy causes strife. You have something that I want, I can't have it, I don't want you to have it. It can cause dissension between the two parties. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 3, Paul writes, "For you are still carnal, for where there are envy, strife, and divisions." You see how envy's a part of this strife and division again among you? Are you not carnal and behaving like mere men? They're still fleshly minded, carnally minded. They're not spiritually minded. They're fighting over who baptized them. Well, I'm baptized by Apollos. I'm baptized by Paul. I'm better than you are. What foolishness. What childishness. It was stirring up envy, strife, and divisions, schisms. That shouldn't be in the body of Christ. Notice in verse 4 of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. We're happy for them, even if we can't have that same joy in the sense of being able to relish in the same accomplishment or whatever it is. That should not hold us back from rejoicing with them and being happy for them. And so ultimately we see here in Titus chapter 3 and verse 3, "For we ourselves were also once foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving various lusts and pleasures, living in malice." There's that malice, the plotting of evil against another, and envy, hateful and hating one another. See, Paul is writing to Titus saying, that was our old life. That's how we conducted ourselves. But that does not define us anymore. We are not of that character. Those are not attributes that are attributed to us any longer. We're servants of the Most High God. We have changed our ways, or we should have. So in James chapter 3 and verse 16, "For where envy and self-seeking exists, confusion and every evil thing are there." We better take envy seriously. It'll send us to hell. Now, I know we're supposed to be talking about rejoice with them that do rejoice. If I'm not, if I'm jealous, if I'm envious, if I am plotting against them, I have malice in my heart to try to take away their joy because I can't have it, I'm not walking in the light as God is in the light. We need to learn to rejoice with those who rejoice. We're happy for them. We're happy with them. We're participating and celebrating and lifting them up, and we're so thrilled for them. We're the opposite of being envious, wishing that we could take it away from them, or we're the opposite, meaning that we're not going to participate. We're going to disassociate ourselves from them. We're not going to go to the party because I can't have children, and now they're having 3 children, and we become bitter. Let's remove that kind of heart. Let's sever that from our soul, from our spirit. And let's have that heart that enjoys seeing others rejoice.